We all know nobody likes Activision. Nobody really likes Ubisoft or EA either. I think everyone just hates all the big AAA developers and publishers at this point. But Activision Blizzard has been doing some pretty sketchy things lately. And someone, I think we've watched one video by this person by the name of Endy Mion, probably saying that wrong, made a video, said Activision's brutal policy sparks industry uproar for gamers. Not exactly sure what this one goes into, but I think it has to do with Black Ops 7, so let's see.
The future that you will genuinely owe nothing and you will be happy was at first seen as a joke. There's no way that companies could implement something where you actually have little to no access to the content that you buy.
This is actually making sense that we're talking about this right now, because the whole don't kill games, or that the whole movement we talked about yesterday, with Pirate Software and Asmongold and Penguins and all of that stuff is going on. It has to do with this.
Can they? But with how the industry has been going, this is no longer something that can really be overlooked, and instead, it's now becoming a reality. Not only will you owe nothing, but now you're gonna pay through the nose for it too. Let's start with Activision Blizzard, the company that looks at its players less like people and more like living flesh wallets. Activision Blizzard is easily one of the greediest gaming companies that has ever existed. And after being bought by Microsoft, this hasn't changed anything, but in fact, made them even worse. These guys have been fleecing players for years, and their predatory practices are so blatant, yet unfortunately, they also keep getting rewarded because they're dangling the video game version of crack over their customers. That crack, by the way, is Call of Duty, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if they inevitably add microtransactions that cost more than your rent or car insurance to their games eventually. Their most recent mega release was, of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which has already proven how much of a masterclass in squeezing players dry Activision really has become. Before, you would drop $70, but soon, that's gonna be $80. We'll get to that, don't worry. But even if you want a cool skin for your gun, that's also going to set you back at least $20 these days. And a premium battle pass, that's another $10. And don't forget about those ultra premium.
Whoa, I was going to say the premium battle pass is, well, I guess technically it's $10, but
battle passes that are like $30 now, because apparently there's a VIP section in Warzone. And the goal of games like Call of Duty is not just to drain your wallet dry, it's to become the only game that you can reasonably afford to play because you're sinking so much into it already. I'm halfway convinced the reason why every Call of Duty game's download size keeps getting bigger is on purpose now. Activision just inflates their download sizes so you will only have enough space for them alone on your console. I previously reported in another video how players were livid when Activision snuck ads into Black Ops 6's loadout menus.
Oh, you did
they
a video
called
on
it
that?
a feature test that went live by accident.
Dude, didn't we were talking the other day? This is not new. No one's talked about this. We randomly ran across it watching a video on stream, but the whole ads in the menu thing was actually in Modern Warfare 3. In Modern Warfare 3, when you went to the events, the event would display a related store bundle to that event. And there was weekly events. So once a week, there was like a kind of highlighted bundle for that event. So the whole ads in the menu thing was not a Black Ops 6 thing. It was actually introduced before that.
And once they got called out by the entire fan base for being predatory, and then they apologized. Anyway, here's two examples, as you can see, where players complained how Activision Blizzard was pushing those loadout bundles in the loadout screen based on the guns that you're using to purposely coax you into buying it by taunting you 24/7 every single time you were playing that game. We'll come back to Call of Duty in a second, but then there's even the Guitar Hero mobile game announcement. Activision teased a new Guitar Hero. And fans were losing their minds because the idea of having another new Guitar Hero on the go is actually really cool in concept. And obviously a touchscreen on your phone makes sense for a game like this. There was tangible hype until fans realized it's a mobile game with, and I'm not kidding, AI-generated visuals as you see.
No, it wasn't even real. This wasn't even real. This was a concept image for them to be like, hey, is there any interest in this?
Being on screen here. Yeah, they actually used AI to create an official poster for Guitar Hero Mobile, and again they refused to pay artists, which is kind of crazy, but sadly not really surprising given who we're talking about here. I wouldn't even be surprised if the songs in the game are just re-recorded with like off-brand singers and
The
AI
game's not even real.
instruments
It's
too,
not coming
just
out,
so
dude.
that they don't have to pay the real artists the full fees for the songs. At this point, nothing would surprise me with Activision Blizzard and their scummy tactics.
Clearly, it would surprise you because you don't even know that the game's not real.
Commenters on their Instagram page obviously spotted the AI art because they have eyeballs, of course, and called out the wonky misshapen hands and the guitars that look
about the
like they were
drums? Look at the
melting
drums.
as the characters are playing them, as you're seeing on screen. It just confirmed what we sadly knew already, that this wasn't really a game. It's just another soulless slop simulator that is being made to force
Ghost.
your wallet open so you keep paying them to relive nostalgia and better days. That's not even the end of Activision admitting to using generative AI, since they also used it for Black Ops 6's visuals as well as other games too. And that kind of explains why some of the textures and even the calling cards look suspiciously not made by human artists. They're cutting corners on literally everything that they can, from human artists to designers, while charging you still premium prices either way. It's like paying $100 for a promised top-of-the-line burger at some restaurant and then finding out that the patty was 3D printed and there's nobody working in the kitchen. Now let's talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and the whole you will owe nothing bit, because it's happening for real this time.
Okay, I don't actually know this part. This is the part that I don't know yet, so.
So the Xbox showcase happened, and Microsoft ended their event with a look to a sequel to a game that just came out. It was actually insane that that's what they ended their presentation with, and I audibly groaned when I saw it live. But Black Ops 7 is the game that's less a sequel and more a middle finger to players than really anything else. It's set in 2035 and promises mind-bending visuals and the return of David Mason. Oh wow. Sounds cool at first, sure, but this game is also a symptom of everything that is honestly wrong with modern gaming, pretty much.
Go on.
First, you have the price. Black Ops 7 is expected to cost $80 digitally, following the trend set by The Outer Worlds 2, which...
Why? So this is something that I'm trying to push when we do these videos, right? When we watch a video from someone and you look at a game developer, or you look at a game, or you look at some sort of marketing, ask yourself why. Why would they make the game $80? And I think this one is pretty straightforward. Why would they make Call of Duty $80? Not because they want more money directly from the sales of the game, because they want you to buy Game Pass. Watch the Game Pass ads as they come out this year. Just watch.
Which has also confirmed it too will be adopting this new price point thanks to Nintendo. $80 frickin', fellas, for a game that'll probably ship with half the content locked behind a paywall too, mind you, because remember that Black Ops 6, which is half a year old as of this video going live, Black Ops 7 is shaping up to be more of the same. But now, it's even pricier, and if the base game is more expensive, I fully expect other things like battle passes and more too to also cost more, because why not, right? Let's just burn all the goodwill while we're at it. Why not? Activision's obviously been cagey about whether Black Ops 7 will hit Nintendo Switch 2 despite Microsoft's 10-year-old deal to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo platforms. Sources say that they're committed to a Switch 2 version, but it's not confirmed for launch, as you can see from this article on screen. They want to bring it to Switch 2, of course they want more money, but can't right now. Why? It's simple. Because Activision knows they can first milk Xbox, PlayStation, and PC players first, then maybe if they're feeling like it, they can release a half-baked version to Switch 2 later, slap that $80 USD price tag on it, and then call it a day. It's the same playbook they used with Call of Duty Ghosts on the Wii U. Remember the Wii U? Nobody remembers the Wii U, but that game ran like a PowerPoint presentation at the best of times. And don't get me started on Game Pass shenanigans. Black Ops 7 is of course a day one Game Pass release, which sounds great until you realize that Microsoft's been hiking Game Pass prices for years now. The standard tier, that jumped from $9.99 to $14.99 a month in 2024. That's a 50% increase.
Does anybody know how much Netflix costs now? Like, actually, like I want someone who does not have Netflix. So I want you to write in chat right now, I don't have Netflix, or I don't pay for it. Like maybe someone else pays for it. This is how much I think it costs. But tell me that you don't pay for it right now. I'm curious what you think.
With Black Ops 7's Xbox Play Anywhere feature, they're pushing you to buy into their ecosystem above anything else. Because it's not about giving you options. It's about locking you into a subscription that routinely keeps increasing its asking price every few months. And hoping that you don't notice by ensuring that you're too distracted by the shiny trailers.
All right, Man of Stealth and Terminator. How much do you think, you both don't pay for it, how much do you think it costs for a monthly subscription?
To realize that they're conditioning you to the you'll owe nothing and be happy mentality without even realizing it in the first place. For a good example of this, look at the Gamer.com's article here titled, Xbox may have finally gone all digital as nobody can find physical discs for its biggest games.
Yeah, so this is going to be a big thing this year. It's going to be really weird. There's multiple games coming out that are like, there was one specifically that is only going to have a disc. I think it's the Outer Wilds. It's the Outer Wilds. I know the answer to this. Or not Outer Wilds, Outer Worlds 2. Is going to only have a disc on PlayStation. Weird, right? It's an Xbox game. So yeah, the Netflix prices here in Canada, I believe this is in Canada. This actually might be American. No, I'm not sure. But anyway, either way, I think it's Canadian though. Is $7.99 a month with ads, which honestly at that point, who's doing that? Or $17.99 a month, but you don't get 4K or highest quality. But for premium, for the top tier, which I think most people who have it probably have this, $25 a month. So that's about $300 a year, which is quite literally insane.
So, Xbox players are having an impossible time finding pre-order options for this fall's biggest releases on that platform. Games like Ninja Gaiden 4, and my computer keeps renaming that to Ninja Garden 4, and The Outer Worlds 2, by the way, do not seem to have any options to pre-order via Microsoft's Xbox platform that allows for physical retail copies to be bought.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about before.
What's crazy is that games like Gears of War Reloaded, which is the remake or the remaster of the first Gears game that is officially coming to PlayStation this August, is actually getting a physical release when it comes out, but that physical release is on PlayStation and not on Xbox, if you can believe it. Same goes for Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, and much more as well. All of these games, whose studios are all owned by Microsoft, pretty much are seemingly only releasing their games physically via PlayStation, but not their own home console. That's kind of weird, isn't it? As confirmed here again by thegamer.com, Gears Reloaded skips Xbox for physical copies. So what gives? How could Microsoft be doing this and catering honestly more so to their rival platform in PlayStation over their own customers? Well, the truth is, it's actually pretty bleak. It's because Microsoft, which also owns Activision Blizzard and IPs like Call of Duty and more, has successfully forced the behaviors of owning nothing upon the Xbox fanbase for years at this point. With service.
And this is actually kind of what we talked about yesterday too. We don't own anything anymore. Anything digital, like we just don't own. Like, how many of you like legitimately listen to music on CDs or vinyls? Like, we do vinyls in our house. Like, I get Steph a new vinyl every month. They're expensive. They're like $50 to $60 here. But you own it. You can listen to that anytime. But like legitimately, how many people actually do that? Almost no one. So you don't own any of your music. Does anyone here buy DVDs anymore? No. I guarantee you don't. Or VHS? Definitely not. So you don't own any of the movies you watch. The TV shows, nobody buys seasons of TV shows anymore. You just stream them. So you don't own any TV. You don't own any movies. You don't own any music. Games, that's going out the window. You don't own that anymore. Like, you own nothing. You rent everything. So, you know, back in the day when Blockbuster, you went and rented your games. Well, it's the same thing now. It's just there's a longer time frame on the returns.
Services like Game Pass, there's no need to sell physical media since Xbox players have become so conditioned to the concept of owning nothing. Even to a degree, you could argue that Steam is the same way for years too. You can find plenty of stories online of players losing access to certain games all over, proving that for years now, when you buy digital, especially, you're not actually buying a copy of that game, but a license pretty much to play that game instead. And because of this new normal, the players are technically now at the mercy of what these corporations deem is their way forward. So as an Xbox user, if all you use is Game Pass, you own nothing at all. You can really only play what Microsoft gives you, like a kid being given a Happy Meal by their parents, and when games leave Game Pass, too bad. You like that game? Well, you didn't own it in the first place, so stop crying. And now you're unable to play anything else unless you pay for it, but even then, it's still digital anyway, so it still circles us all the way back to the problem at hand, which is that you genuinely will own nothing, and you should be happy. And since Microsoft has already pushed this reality on Xbox players, and Steam players have kind of already accepted this reality too, it just leaves PlayStation as the last bastion of physical media pretty much, but also not really. Because even on PlayStation, most discs are also just glorified digital codes that exist on the actual discs. Even on Nintendo Switch 2, it's the same thing. As confirmed here back in April 2020.
Yeah, so this is a legitimate thing that people don't realize, is that disc that you're buying isn't actually the game. Like, if it wasn't for the internet connection, you wouldn't just be able to put that disc in and play it anymore. So really, you don't own the thing that you're buying is actually just like the picture on the front of the CD box.
5 by Polygon, some of the Nintendo Switch 2 game cartridges, they don't even have games on them anymore. Hell, the Switch 2, which is like a hybrid portable system, can't even be played in handheld form unless you authenticated via the internet as well. And if Nintendo deems that you broke some law, now your handheld is a glorified paperweight at best, and you can't play the thing at all. Effectively meaning that nothing is truly safe from this mentality of zero ownership that these companies are pushing onto every single...
Yeah, so at this point, I think it's kind of unfair to put this just on Activision, by the way.
One of us. You then combine this with the other problem, which is, of course, the increase in prices. Black Ops 7 and more are also killing games by setting this precedent. Its $80 price tags and aggressive monetizations are going to greenlight other publishers to just do the same. I mean, look at Star Wars Outlaws. That's Ubisoft charging $70 for a game that felt like a side quest that got stretched into like 30 hours. And oh, by the way, it had a $40 season pass on top of that. Or what about Assassin's Creed Shadows? Nobody remembers that game. That also spends its entire campaign just blue-balling you with teases, only to end its campaign telling you literally nothing. I played the game, I would know this. And just pushing you.
The Assassin's Creed Shadows had like 3 hours of really, 4 hours of really cool cutscenes and story. And the rest was just bloat. That's a really good description of it, actually.
Buy the season pass to get the real story of the game. So stuff like this, and now even Black Ops 7, are the poster children for this new wave of corporate greed. And it's just dragging the industry into this dystopian hellscape where games are going to cost as much as a car payment eventually. Okay, I'm joking. They won't cost as much as a car. I hope not anyways. But these days, any hyperbole can probably become a reality, and I really don't want prices to increase any further than they already have. But speaking of dystopian hellscapes, let's talk about The Outer Worlds 2, Microsoft's first confirmed $80 game at release. That's right, Obsidian's quirky sci-fi RPG sequel is now priced like a luxury item. Want to explore a game that says capitalism is a modern nightmare? Cool, just give into that very same capitalism by paying Obsidian $80 digitally for Outer Worlds 2 then. Why $80? Because Microsoft saw Nintendo slap an $80 price point on Mario Kart World for Switch 2, and they thought, hey, if they can gouge their fans, why can't we? They'll gaslight.
Well, this is exactly what people were saying about GTA 6, right? Like, people were specifically saying if GTA bumps their price up to $100, every studio is going to do it. Now, Nintendo was the one that pulled the trigger, and now everyone is doing it.
You and say it's because games are more expensive to make, but it's quickly becoming obvious that this isn't really about inflation or development costs anymore. It's about testing how much they can squeeze out of us before we riot collectively as a global community. How far can the publishers push before there's real resistance from their customers? Oh,
have they confirmed that Borderlands 4 is $70? Have they confirmed that? Commander Cody? Is that like a 100% thing? Is like other pre-orders? Let me actually
They're
look.
okay with that $80 price point? What about $85 digitally? Oh, they're still okay with that one too. Let's push it to 90, maybe 95? Ah, screw it. Let's round it to $100 in a few years, cause why not, right? Like The Outer Worlds was a $60 game back in 2019, and it was a hit because it was affordable and packed with that.
So it's $89.99 for the standard edition Canadian. So let me convert it. Yeah, so it's $65.90. So yeah, it is $70. You're right. Canadian dollar sucks. It's horrible. It's brutal.
That charm that Obsidian was known for before the activists went crazy over there, and now the sequel's price, it just feels like a betrayal. Like finding out that your favorite indie band is signed with a soulless record label for the money alone, which is honestly what has happened with Obsidian. And Obsidian, which was once one of the bastions of creativity and making cool games that nobody else could, has quickly turned into the very thing that they promised that they never would. Now they make slop like Avowed and I guess Outer Worlds 2, and you can bet when Avowed comes to PlayStation eventually, they'll be charging that $80 too, hoping that somebody will be stupid enough to pay that price for it.
Avowed was okay for about 3 to 5 hours. And then I just got bored of Avowed.
Pretty obvious that this has all been Microsoft's, plan and has their fingerprints all over it. Because post-Activision acquisition, they've been flexing their monopoly muscles on the entire industry. As this little line from the AmericanConsumer.com says, where Microsoft promised to do better post their acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which reads, "In reality, the merger would deliver a major victory to consumers who are likely to see significant benefits like
So the only thing that they haven't done is the lower prices. I do believe that they have expanded access and a greater selection of games. I think they have done those things. Just the lower price thing is a lie.
expanded access, a greater selection of games, and lower prices. Well, that was a lie, wasn't it? They promised that this acquisition wouldn't lead to anti-competitor behavior, and of course, it aged like milk. But in reality, places like Microsoft are instead winning in the end either way, as PlayStationLifestyle.com said back in January 2025, as it reads here, PlayStation behind 64% of spending on Microsoft games last month. So, as it states here, as you can see, the majority of that revenue came from a single game, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, to nobody's surprise. Proving that they're not making games exclusive anymore, but now they're just making them more expensive across all platforms.
So this is going to happen again. I did this already once today with a video, but we're going to do the same thing again because I think we can dilute this down to an individual thing, an individual thought, and an individual idea. And I'm going to make this plain and simple, and this will probably end up being the title of the video. What Xbox is going for, what Netflix is going for, what all of these things are going for is they don't want you to own their items, right? Like Costco wants you to own their items. They want to make good things with the Kirkland brand so that you own Kirkland items. Xbox, Netflix, Spotify, they don't want you to buy their things. They want to own you. And the way that they do that is they make their service the best of all of the services so that you are subscribed to that with a subscription model. And you don't own their item, they own you. That's it. Activision owns you. Xbox owns you. I have Game Pass. Xbox owns me. That's what they want. You don't own the game owns you. And Call of Duty goes even further than that because not only are you doing it on Game Pass, they own you that way, and then they're releasing bi-monthly battle passes. They own you that way. And then they're releasing bi-daily. No, not bi-daily. Eventually it will be, but every second day they release a new bundle and then you buy. They own your ass. They own your ass. And that's the truth. You don't own the game owns you. I like that.